I think we have to today discuss about water-based aquaculture. If not, let me know. Because last time we discussed about land-based aquaculture systems, some of the aspects on land-based aquaculture. I will share the presentations, don't worry. So I was really busy last few days, so I couldn't send you the presentations. I will share the presentations, don't worry. If I remind you what we discussed in last few weeks, we discussed what is aquaculture and how aquaculture differs from fisheries. Fisheries also an industry, aquaculture also an industry, and now you all know that fisheries catch is declining in the world and aquaculture is flourishing. In the world, wherever water resources are available, wherever weather conditions are suitable, now people culture fish. The demand for fish and fisheries products is increasing in the world. Therefore, aquaculture is an industry that has a very good future. If I ask you to explain what is aquaculture, can you explain? What is aquaculture? If I ask a question, what is aquaculture?
Controlled cultivation of aquatic organisms.
Okay. Any other answer? When at this level, as undergraduates, when you are asked a question, you are supposed to give a very good, clear answer. Especially when you ask to explain, it is necessary to address all the components. Now, if you are asked to explain about aquaculture or define aquaculture, you have to mention that aquaculture is culturing organisms in water, and we culture fish, mollusks, seaweeds, echinodermates, reptiles, and also aquaculture, if not fish farming, means there is an ownership. During the farming process, the fish stock is owned by an individual or a corporate body. So that is aquaculture. And again, you have to mention that during farming process, we protect our stock, we treat for diseases, and we feed our stock. And aquaculture is different from fisheries industry, because in the fisheries industry, usually we catch fish from common resources, common properties, ocean, river, lakes, they are common properties. But in aquaculture, they are not common property. The aquaculture systems belong to an individual or any other corporate body, maybe to a company. So you have to explain all this when you explain about aquaculture. Then if you can remember, we discussed the objectives of aquaculture, why aquaculture, we conduct aquaculture. Then we discuss intensive, semi-intensive, extensive aquaculture systems. We discuss how to select a species to be cultured. If an investor wants to culture a fish or any other aquatic organisms, how to select a species. We consider biological aspects, we consider economic aspects. And we discuss about land-based aquaculture. We discuss about ponds, we discuss about tanks, raceways, and I mentioned you about barrage ponds, contour ponds, paddy ponds. And when we select sites, we consider environmental qualities like weather pattern, soil quality, water, water quality, water quantity. So a lot of stuff we discussed already. Today, we will start a new topic. Site selection for water-based aquaculture. Site selection for water-based aquaculture. We know that we culture organisms in water. It is very clear. But basically, depend on the place where we keep our culture system, we can categorize them into two types, land-based aquaculture and water-based aquaculture. Land-based aquaculture, we have ponds, we have tanks, we have reservoirs. What are water-based aquaculture? We keep our culture system in the water. Then we call water-based aquaculture. What are culture systems? We keep our animals in a culture system. Culture system can be a pond, a tank, a cage, or anything else. Right? Today's topic is on water-based aquaculture. That means we keep our fish in a system, we keep the system in the water. Now look at this. Mollusk. Mollusk. We culture mollusk, bello, oysters, with the bell and varga. We culture oysters. Then we culture seaweeds, aquatic plants. We culture fish. We culture sea cucumbers. So we can culture mollusk, seaweeds, fish, and sea cucumber in water-based aquaculture systems. Mollusk culture, rafts. Pahurak හදන්න පුළුවන් raft එකක්. Pahurak හදලා that raft floats in the water. Raft. Raft, something like this. You can use bamboo and prepare a raft, very simple raft like this. This is a raft. So attached to this raft, you can keep ropes, this type of ropes. Attached to these ropes, you can culture oysters. Or else, what else you can do? Using raft, you can culture seaweeds. Seaweeds you can attach to this raft. So they are rafts. Long lines. So again, this can be a bamboo or anything like this. Then a rope. This is a rope. Attached to this rope, you can again culture culture sea cucumber. We can enclose large area, enclose. You can enclose. Mude නොගැඹුරු area එකක් වට කරනවා. වට කරලා you can culture sea cucumber. All these are water-based aquaculture systems. Now look at this. Can you see mollusks culture in rafts? These are raft. Attached to this raft, you can see lines. Lines. Attached to the lines, you see something like this structure. Can you see? There are trays. On the trays, we keep oyster. These are systems people practice in Canada, Brazil, Australia, and Indonesia, China. These are popular culture systems for oysters. Now, when you look at this picture, you see that oysters are exposed to air, sun, and wind. Why this? You know, we have tidal variations. Udam rala. Udama kiyanne during 2 times a day, seawater level increases and decreases. Now, in this picture, what you see, oysters are exposed to air and wind and sun. Why? This is low tide. This is low tide. So therefore, water level is low. With high tide, water level will gradually increase. Water level is slowly, gradually increase. When water level increases, all these oysters will be covered with water. Then they become active, they feed. Then during low tide, water level decreases. These animals will not die because of high tide and low tide. So mollusk culture in raft. We can practice this in shallow waters. You need to understand that this is a very profitable industry. Therefore, this type of a structure you can prepare without investing a lot of money. You don't need a lot of money to prepare this type of a raft aquaculture system. Look at this, another raft. This is Mannar in Sri Lanka, in Mannar, and also in Jaffna. This is how they culture seaweed. This is another type of raft. Can you see the simple structure? Farmer does not need to spend a lot of money. He only has to look after his plants. Shallow water. Can you see they are cultured in shallow water, crystal clear water. There is a lot of oxygen, and I think you all understand that seaweeds are plants. Seaweeds are plants. Seaweed cannot be cultured if there is not enough light. So therefore, seaweeds are cultured in shallow water. Nogamburu mode, shallow water, and they need lots of sunlight to photosynthesize. Neither. Another water-based system. This is a fish cage. Actually, a cage system. Lot of cages. Can you see these barrel-like structures? They actually float. Attached to this structure, there is a cage like this. Attached to this structure, there is a cage like this. This is a cage culture system. In the reservoir, farmers have kept cages. So this is a platform. You can walk on it. You can feed your fish while you are walking. You can easily catch them. So this is a very convenient culture system. Very convenient culture system. Because you don't need to exchange water. මේවෙන් වතුර මාරු කරන්න ඕන වෙන්නේ නැහැ නේද? වතුර මාරු කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. මොකද දැල් කූඩු තියෙන්නේ වතුර ස්වභාවිකවම මාරු වෙනවා දැල් කූඩු හරහා. ඒක නිසා මේ දැල් කූඩුවේ වතුර අපි ටැංකිය වල වගේ පොකුණු වල වගේ වරින් වර වතුර මාරු කිරීමේ අවශ්‍යතාවයක් මෙතන ඇති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. These are cages. In cages, we usually culture fish. Then culture system ගැන ඇහුවාම කියන්න එපා cages වල oysters ලා හදනවා කියලා. Cages වල sea cucumbers ලා හදනවා කියලා. That is wrong. We culture fish and crabs in cages. In this type of cages, we only can culture fish. We can culture fish. We can culture crabs. Right? In this type of cages. All these are water-based aquaculture system. What is this? What is this animal? Can someone tell me what is this animal? This is sea cucumber. Mudu kakeri. Sea cucumber. දැන් ලංකාවේ පොලිසිය කියන්නේ මේවට මුහුදු කූඩැල්ල කියලානේ. මුහුදු කූඩැල්ල කියලා එකක් නැහැ. මේ මුහුදු කැකිරි වලට තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ මුහුදු කූඩැල්ල කියලා ලංකාවේ නිවුස් වල එහෙම කියන්නේ. මුහුදු කැකිරි. Sea cucumber. So what these people are doing? They are constructing an enclosure like this. Enclosure. Right. Can you see the water? Very shallow water. Very shallow water. What farmers do? They catch small sea cucumber like this. Punchi sea cucumber pata mude patuleng allalam. Enala mekata dana. That's all they do. Then they slowly grow. 1 kilo processed sea cucumber, 1 kilo in high-end market, sometimes higher than $2,000. Can you believe? On the turf, processed kalapu sea cucumber kilo ekak rupial නෙවෙයි $2000ක් market එක යාල වෙනවා Singapore වගේ රටවල. This is considered delicacy. People ready to pay any amount of money to buy sea cucumber. So this is a very lucrative business, right? Sea cucumber culture. We do it Calpitia, Manna, and Jaffna, Trinco, Batakilo. So in those areas, there is enough shallow water, crystal clear water, lot of sunlight, lot of food. So sea cucumbers grow very fast. These are enclosures. This one is an enclosure. And most of the mollusk species we culture in rafts. So I want to show you different organisms we culture. Now look at this. This is oyster. These two are clams and cockles. මේ තියෙන පොඩි අය අපි මුහුදු වෙරළේ ඇවිදිද්දී ඕගලන්ට නිතර සිප්පි කටෝපලම් පොඩි කාලේ අහුලන්න ඇති. මේ වගේව අහුලනවා. ඒ මොනවද? ඒ clams and cockles. මේගොල්ලන් කියන්නේ clams. මම මේ පෙන්නන්නේ clams. මේ අනිත් කට්ටිය මෙන්න මේගොල්ලන් cockles. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මෙහෙම දාර ගොඩාක් ලොකුයි. ඒගොල්ලන්ට අපි කියනවා cockles කියලා. මේගොල්ලන්ට කියනවා clams කියලා. These are oysters. What is this? This is the mussel. Mattia, එහෙම නැත්නම් bello කියලා අපි කියනවා. Look at this. This is what people eat. Actually, now what you see here is raw oysters, raw cockles, raw clams, raw mussels. මේගොල්ලන් අමුවෙන් තමයි ගොඩක් කලාවට ආහාරයට ගන්න වෙන රටවල. අපි වගේ නෙමෙයි. බොහෝ රටවල මෙවැනි මත්ස්‍ය ආහාර they eat raw. උයන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙමම ආහාරයට ගන්නවා. සමහරවිට එහෙමම විවිධ සෝස් වර්ග පාවිච්චි කරලා they eat. Mollusk species. දැන් අපේ රටේ ගත්තොත් දැන් අපි ගොඩක් කලාවට මොන මාළු උයනකොට දැන් මොන මාළු වර්ගයේ වුවත් ඇත්තටම අපි 3-5 දාලා ගොඩාක් 3-5 දාලා අපිට බලයයි වුවත් එකලහයි තලපත් වුවත් එකලහයි tilapia වුවත් එකලහයි because we add lot of spices. Actually we taste the spices, not the fish. අපි මාළු වගේ රහ නැති වෙනකන් 3-5 දාලා වෙනස් කරලා 3-5 රහ තමයි කන්නේ. අපිට ඕනේ ලුණු රහ, මිරිස් රහ, සැර, ගම්මිරිස් රහ. right? අපි කන්නේ 3-5, not the fish. ඒත් මාළු වගේ සැබෑ රහ අපි නැති වෙනකන් 3-5 දානවා. එළවලු ඉව්වත් එහෙමයි. බණ්ඩක් ඇව්වත් එකයි, වම්බොට ඉව්වත් එකයි, ඔක්කොම එකම 3-5 දාලා So we don't taste the vegetable. Here we don't taste the fish. But I don't think that we should eat raw, but it's better to taste the real taste of the particular food. But when you add too much of spices and salt and chilies, you cover the real taste of vegetable or fish or meat, whatever we eat. Okay, that is our food habit. But in many other countries, people like to eat raw or half-cooked fisheries products, fish, clams, cockles, oysters. Oysters. Oysters actually very common in the shallow coastal waters in Sri Lanka around 1 or 2 decades ago. That means around 1980s and 1990s. If you travel along the Galle Road at Beluwala, Panadula, Galle, Unawatuna, Mathara, Hambantota area, you can very easily buy mussels, wild mussels. But because of over harvesting, අපි ගොඩක් උන් අල්ලපු නිසා අද නෑ. Otherwise, they are readily available in the market. So you can buy mussels for a very low price from Mattakulia, sorry, not Mattakulia, Kalpiti area, right? Very low price. And all these oysters, clams, cockles, mussels, scallops. Scallop කියන්නේ මේ oyster වගේම තව සතෙක් scallop. We can culture them under aquaculture. And it is very profitable. The thing is, when you culture mollusks, you don't feed them. You don't need to feed them. If you culture fish, you have to feed them. But here you don't feed them. Therefore, you just set the raft, attach these mussels into the raft, then they will not go anywhere. They will grow. So when you take harvest, you can sell them very easily. This is oyster, Chrysostria, oyster. Now you can see what people eat, the mantle. So this is the area that people eat, which is called mantle. And it is very similar to the body of cuttlefish. දැල්ලෙක්ගේ ඇඟ වගේ. ඇඟට හා සමානව හැදිලා තියෙන කොටස තමයි මේ බෙල්ලොන්ගේ mantle එක, Chrysostria. Chrysostria. This one highly cultured. In Sri Lankan estuaries, you can see this Chrysostria. It's very common. ඒගොල්ලන් අඳුර ගන්න පුළුවන් මෙන්න මේ වගේ දැති වගේ ඇඟේ පුරාම තියෙනවා Chrysostria. There are different species of Chrysostria we can culture in rafts. And here you can see again clams, cockles, scallops, and this is mussel. Perna කියන්නේ mussel එකක්. මෙයාට අපි කියනවා green mussel කියලා. මෙයා ගොඩක් මේ වගාවට පාවිච්චි කරනවා. මෙයාගේ නම green mussel. Green mussel. Here you can see the scallops. Can you see scallops? also is a bay. Two bays you can see here in the picture. Which one is sheltered? A or B? Which one is sheltered? B is sheltered. මොකද වෙන්නේ? දැන් මේකේ ලොකු රළ පහරක් ආවොත්. දැන් මේ වගේ බේ එකක් හොඳයි aquaculture වලට. හොඳ නෑ. Why? Water current. Very strong water currents. They will damage your culture system. What about this one? Sheltered, protected. This bay is protected, sheltered. Sheltered from strong winds, rough seas. Therefore, we select sheltered bays and estuaries. They are the suitable culture sites. Okay? Frequent storms, turbulent seas make it difficult to practice this type of aquaculture. Winds, if there are strong winds, they will affect our culture installations, our culture systems. They may be destroyed. If there are strong waves, again, they will damage our culture structures. So release our fish and seaweeds and oysters to the water. Therefore, strong winds, strong water currents, waves. There are things that we have to consider when we select sites for water-based aquaculture. And when we culture mollusks, the nature of the seabed or riverbed is important. How is the bottom? Because we need the suitable stable substrate for the attachment of the animals. If we culture mollusks, they will attach to something. So to provide that attachment, we need strong, hardy substrate. Now think that now this is water. So we attach this is the seabed. We have to attach these poles. Attached to these poles, we keep oysters. This seabed, the substrate, should be hard enough to plant these poles. So these are things that we have to consider when we select a site for mollusk culture of mollusk. Okay. And mollusk culture mainly based on natural food organisms. Mainly mollusk culture based on natural food organisms. That means we don't provide them food. We don't provide them food. They eat what is available in the water. Therefore, our water should contain enough natural food organisms. Our water should contain enough natural food organisms, right? So that means there should be enough primary production. Therefore, water flow rate should not exceed 5 centimeter per second. Water flow rate in our selected site should not be very fast. If water flows very fast, that will affect primary productivity. Algae, phytoplankton will not grow. Therefore, water flow velocity should be smaller than, lower than 5 centimeter per second. තප්පරයට සෙන්ටිමීටර් 5ට වඩා අඩු වේගයකින් ජලය ගලාගෙන යන්න ඕනේ. Otherwise, it will affect primary production. And when it comes to mollusk culture, aquaculturists or farmers depend on wild spat. And so the spat availability also important. What is spat? Spat කියලා අපි කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ පුංචි බෙල්ල පැටව. They are very small. So they should be available. Otherwise, how can we culture them? Small spat. Right? That we have to consider. In Philippines, they use natural ropes, artificial ropes. During the breeding season of oysters, they hang these natural and artificial ropes in the water. Then tiny oysters will come and settle. In the ocean, in the beach, when you go to beach, you can see that in the intertidal zone, Antarudam Kalape, so in the intertidal zone, many organisms are attached to the rocks. Therefore, animals that need a substrate to attach should find a place to settle. මේ පුංචි ඔයිස්ටර් පැටව බෙල්ල පැටව හැදුනහම මේ බෙල්ල පැටවුන්ට ඕන වෙනවා කොහෙට හරි ගිහිලා ඇලෙන්න. ඇලිලා තමයි යාලා හැදෙන්නේ. They need a substrate to attach. If they cannot find a substrate to attach, what would happen to them? They can't survive. So what people do in Philippines, they provide ropes. කඹ දානවා. කඹයක් දානවා. කඹේ දැම්මම මේ පැටව ගිහලා එකට ඇලෙනවා. Right? So we have to provide such structures for our oysters to attach. Now this is spat. මේගොල්ලන්ට තමයි spats කියන්නේ. පුංචි බෙල්ල පැටව. Spat. ඒකට බිත්තරෙන් එළියට ඇවිල්ලා පොඩ්ඩක් සතියක් විතර grow වෙච්ච පුංචි බෙල්ල පැටව. මේගොල්ලන් අපි එකතු කර ගන්නවා. කොහොමද එකතු කරගන්නේ? We provide them ropes. කඹ වගේ දේවල් පාවිච්චි කරලා කඹ ජලයේ එල්ලලා තිබ්බහම ඒගොල්ලන් ඇවිල්ලා මේවට attach වෙන මෙන්න මේ වගේ. Now here you can see this type of ropes are used in the world. When you provide these ropes, so they come attached like this. They attach. So that you can transfer spats into one place to the other very easily, very simply, right? Then the other thing that you have to consider is water quality. Water quality, salinity. Salinity, what is the unit? PPT, parts per 1,000. PPT, parts per 1,000. අපි salinity unit එක ගන්න PPT කියලා. Parts per 1,000. Seawater salinity is around 33. So for the mollusk culture, we can use 15 to 35 salinity. Water depth 1 to 10 meters. Not very deep, okay? And muddy bottom for mussels, hard rocky coralline substrate for oysters. And you have to consider about the pollution and user conflicts. Now we know that in the world, beach is considered as dump site. In Sri Lanka, go to any beach, you will see a lot of waste everywhere. So that is not different in other Asian countries and Africa, where people do not consider natural beauty important. and environment pollution is very common. So you have to consider these aspects. Why? You have to consider especially these aspects. Why? Because most of your mollusks, oysters, clams, cockles, scallops, they are eaten raw. People do not cook them, they eat them. So if there are pollutants, sewage contaminations, bacteria, that will affect them, their health. Therefore, you have to consider about pollution and user conflicts, whether fishermen help you, whether villages support your aquaculture facility. Otherwise, they will come and destroy your aquaculture facility. So you have to consider conflicts also. And most of these water bodies are already being used for some other purposes. River water is used for agriculture. Lake water is used for agriculture, recreation. And marine water, the sea, beach, is used by fishermen. So we have to consider user conflicts. කවුරු හරි අපිත් එක්ක සම්ඩු කරන්න එනවද? සම්ඩුවක් ඇති වෙයිද? එහෙමනම් so how to avoid it? These are factors that you have to consider. So how do you know these things? You can talk to the people nearby. Ask them. So I'm going to purchase this area, or I'm going to start an aquaculture here. I want to install my systems. So inquire, talk to people, see whether fishermen are using that site. If not, you can use it for aquaculture. Otherwise, they will come and fight with you. And also think of potential pollution. Already polluted sites are there. Future potential. If your aquaculture site is very close to industrial zone, you have to be very careful. So these are factors that you have to consider when you select sites for water-based aquaculture. And if you start intensive aquaculture system, indoor aquaculture system, then we have to discharge used water to outside the environment. You have to discharge used water to outside the environment. You have to check whether there is any possibility to discharge water. And whether your aquaculture facility affect irrigation, agriculture, drinking water. So therefore, you have to consider all these aspects. Conflicts may arise with agriculture. You are more knowledgeable on agriculture than me. Right? I don't have a lot of experience on agriculture, but you have. So then agriculture needs lots of water. Aquaculture as an industry compete for water. Aquaculture also needs water. Agriculture also needs water. Then there can be conflicts. So we have to be very careful, right? So the government will say, no, we want to give water to agriculture because they culture paddy. They will say that, no, we don't give water for aquaculture. So we have to consider, therefore, these things before we select a site. Then third parameter, environmental impact assessment. Environmental impact, what is happening in this environment? So government will not issue a license if we do not consider about environmental impacts, right? Where there can be formulated codes of management. සමහරලාට farmers ලගාව තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලන් farm manage කරන ක්‍රමවිධි. Codes of management. අපි කොහොමද මේක කරන්නේ? They have their societies. In Sri Lanka, we have Shrimp Farmers Association. They discuss about future of the industry. So we have to consider this, whether the farmers have any specific codes. Now, suppose that you are going to start a crab culture in Nigambu. So you have to go and talk to people, see whether there is a society to which you can also join. Then they may have different management strategies already implemented. ඒගොල්ලන් මොනවා හරි management ක්‍රියාවලියක් දැනට තියෙනවද? If so, you have to also practice them. We need to consider such information when we select a site for aquaculture. right? Before we start our aquaculture facility, we have to consider the socio-economic implications. සමාජ ආර්ථික බලපෑම් අපේ aquaculture වෙන අපිට consider කරන්න වෙනවා. සමාජ ආර්ථික බලපෑම්. What are socio-economic implications? Whether our aquaculture facilities will affect poor fishermen. Whether our aquaculture facility will affect people who come to beach to enjoy. Whether we can provide employments for the villagers. It is an economic impact, social impact. So these are things, these aspects we consider when we and if discharge any used water to outside the environment, when we add nutrients, it may cause eutrophication, සුපෝෂණ තත්ත්වයක් ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. And also other animals may die and oxygen level will decrease in the water body because of our water-based aquaculture facilities. So we have to consider all this stuff. Okay. So in aquaculture facilities, if we have water that is already used, then we can treat them, right? Effluent treatment before we discharge them into outside environment, right? So we can have sedimentation tanks. Sedimentation tank කියන්නේ අපිට පාවිච්චි කරපු වතුර කාලයක් sediments හැදෙන්න ඔහේ තියලා තියන්න. We can retain water for some time, right? Then all the particles will settle in the bottom. If we have 100 hectare farm, we give 10 hectares for sedimentation tanks. අපි 10% sedimentation tanks වලට වෙන් කරනවා. Social aspects. So we should always try to reduce negative impacts while try to improve positive impacts. And the profit or the income we have to share with the local community. People live close by. At least we can ask them to come and work in our fish farm, work in our crab farm. The village will come and work. Then they will protect our agriculture systems. They know that they are also getting a benefit. That is how we manage these things. Okay. Right. That's all for water-based aquaculture. We have discussed about water-based aquaculture, right? So today we'll move to another new topic, that is integrated farming. Integrated farming. Integrated aquaculture. Integrated fish farming production systems. Integration. Integrated fish farming. What do you mean by integration? Integration. We integrate fish farming into other agriculture. Do this together. Agriculture and aquaculture together. Agriculture and aquaculture together. Integrated fish farming. Look at this. You can see a pond. On the pond, there is a coop where I keep our ducks. This type of cage, we keep ducks, chicken, we call coop. Food. Look at this. We are culturing ducks. We are culturing fish. Integrated farming. Two crops. Two different types of crops. Integrated fish farming. I hope you all are paying attention to the lecture. On the first day, I asked you to take notes. What I can see, time to time when you accidentally on your videos, what I can see, you just on the presentation, you join the lecture and just look at it. You don't write down anything important. If you want to get a good grade, if you want to be a good student, if you want to be, especially if you want to be a good student, you need to write down notes, right? So you can't study just reading lecturer's presentation. So lecturer has spent a lot of time, has prepared a presentation. By reading it, you may not get all the knowledge. So in my case, I always try to explain little more. And also I give you examples which are not given in the presentation. So therefore, be a good student and take your notes. As you are in the first year, there are 2 or 3 years to go. Many students fail some courses. Therefore, your hard work is necessary. So I would like to see that you all are getting good grades and make your own short notes. Short notes are very important. When you have lots of presentations to study, why not make a short note? So that is very useful. Okay. So such study tips you have to follow. Otherwise, subjects are very bulky. Lot of information to remember. So one cannot remember all this information. Even I can't. So what we have to do, we have to take some extra measures like taking notes, write down important points, lecturer explain, read it again and again. Then you can easily keep things in your mind. Okay? Integrated fish farming, a diversified and coordinated method of farming with the fish as the main commodity. Method of farming with the fish as the main commodity. Diversified and coordinated method of farming. So not fish is the main crop, but with the fish, we culture some other organisms. This is very popular in China, Thailand, Japan, Indonesia, Malaysia, and even now getting popular in other parts of the world. Integrated aquaculture, right? Fish culture we can combine with agriculture, livestock farming. And when we integrate fish with agriculture, livestock farming, we can get more profit, more yield. Farmer can earn a lot of money. Look at this. Chicken and fish together. Chicken and
So from starting from this new.
you have sent some messages. Okay. So you have to. Okay, good. You send messages. I didn't see even the messages. Right. See, right? You can see now. You can see duck and fish culture together. Okay, here you can. There is a pond. So this is what I called you coop. Punchi cage එකක් වගේ එකක්. So here you see the as I mentioned. He has fish, right? This is very important. Why? It improves productivity, higher income to farm. You are getting okay. We can culture fish with ducks. We can culture fish with chicken. We can culture fish with cattle. We can culture fish with vegetables. We can culture fish with rice. All these are integrated aquaculture. Slight modification is necessary. We don't need to spend a lot of money to construct aquaculture systems. These are integrated fish farming combines animal husbandry and vegetable food production. Not only fish, we can culture vegetables, fruits, chicken coop for pigs and ducks can be constructed on the dikes with අපිට පුළුවන් දැන් අපේ සත්තුන්ට දැන් අපි පොකුණක් හදලා මෙහෙම this is the pond, this is your pond, there is water and you have fish in here. Okay, you can make a small hut here like this and you can keep your chicken here. And also, if not, you can construct a chicken coop here. Okay, you can keep your fish here. So this is very advantageous. So good for the farmer. And when you add chicken manure into the water, what happens? You are adding a lot of nutrients. Algae will grow fast. Okay, algae will grow. Your fish will grow faster. So lots of advantages, right? Lot of advantages. So some advantages. Recycling of wastes. Can you tell me the type of waste we can recycle in this system? Waste recycle recycling of waste.
Food waste.
Food waste, very good, very good. Yes, food waste, kitchen waste, even sometimes when you feed your cattle, goat or whatever, එතන ඉතුරු වෙන waste එක ඊළඟට chicken droppings, chicken waste, slaughterhouse waste. After you slaughter chicken, you remove the waste, so that guts and all these things you can chop and give it as feed. So you can recycle waste. It's a very good advantage. Very good advantage. Recycling of waste and higher production from a small area. Now suppose that your area is like this, say maybe 1 hectare. You have 1 hectare. If you culture fish only, you get only fish. If you culture duck, you get eggs, you get meat, and also you get fish. From small area, higher production, because more employment. You can give a lot of jobs and increased economic benefit. Very simply, these are major benefits, major benefits. Finally, economic benefit to the farmer, recycling of waste, higher production, more employment, increased economic benefit. Recycling of waste. If I ask you to discuss the advantages of integrated fish farming, you should not write it like this in a point form. You have to explain one by one, right? In a question, each and every word matters a lot, okay? When I ask you to explain advantages of integrated fish farming, you have to explain these points. If you write your answer in point form, you will not get marks. You will not get marks. Recycling waste, explain it. We can use chicken droppings. We can use slaughterhouse waste. Slaughterhouse waste. කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? සත්තු මරණ තැන්වල එකතු වෙන waste එක. Slaughterhouse waste. Slaughterhouse waste. You have to explain all these things. Higher production from 1 hectare. Farmer will get 2 crops, 2 times. So year-round income, more employments. When there are a lot of crops in a small area, you can provide a lot of farmer get a lot of money. Let's see about fish and chicken farming. Fish and chicken farming. Fish and chicken farming together. So we can keep our chicken coop above the water or on the dike, right? On the dike. And fish and chicken mix well in the biological food chain, right? How chicken dropping become fertilizer and fish feed. Chicken droppings will provide fertilizer, will eat chicken droppings. And if you have 4x8 poultry house, you need at least 1,000 square meter fish pond. 1,000 square meter means 1 hectare. 1,000 square meter means 1 hectare pond. You can have 4 meter by 8 meter poultry house. These are the species you can culture with chicken. First one, because of the color you can identify it. It's called milkfish. Wake milkfish. This is tilapia. Then you can culture different shrimp or prawn species. Is so. With chicken. So you can use in a combination 200 milkfish, 1,500 tilapia, 5,000 shrimp in one pond. Can you see? Milkfish, tilapia, shrimp together in the pond, and at the same time you are growing chicken. How many species together? Chicken, shrimp, tilapia, milkfish. So farmer will get a very good income, right? Very good income. So farmer can harvest chicken within 45 days. But fish need more time. So that means farmer can go for 2 culture cycles of chicken. 2 culture cycles of chicken, 1 culture cycle of fish. Now the problem is, I'm sure that you all have a question. When we feed them chicken droppings, So the fish can be contaminated with bacteria, chicken droppings. So what we do? So what we can do, we can harvest chicken 2 times, and when it come closer to harvest, we can remove all the chicken. We can let fish grow without chicken for 1 or 2 weeks. Then water become more clearer and no bacterial contamination, and bacterial contamination become very low. So then we can harvest. Okay. So when we harvest, farmer will sell fish and chicken both for the villages, and also he can eat whatever he wish. Look at this. When you look at this, can you see all the chicken droppings? All the chicken droppings are not allowed to drop into the water. Part of the chicken dropping they collect. Why? Otherwise, too much of droppings in the water. Otherwise, too much of droppings in the water. So they control it. So farmer can collect chicken droppings later. Part of the chicken droppings drop into the water, fish will eat, and also fertilize the water. And can you see, this is a very efficient method. The pond, the space of the pond is utilized for several things. In the pond, you find milkfish, you find tilapia, you find shrimp, prawns. At the same time, you have chicken. So it's a very efficient way of producing food. And as I mentioned, for sanitation, it is suggested to harvest chicken a week or 2 before fish is harvested. And we can remove chicken, and we can even exchange water. පොකුළු ටික අල්ලලා ඉවරනාට පස්සේ පොකුණේ තියෙන වතුර වලින් 4න් 3ක් විතර හිස් කරලා අලුත් වතුර පුරවනවා. That way we can improve the quality of our fish. That way we can improve the quality of our fish. When chicken droppings are added into the water, chicken droppings will add nutrients. It contains a lot of nitrogen. Compost වල nitrogen කොච්චර තියෙනවද සාමාන්‍යයෙන්? So you all agriculture student, tell me, what is the average amount of nitrogen in the compost? සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කොච්චර වගේ තියෙනවද? 100ට කීයක් වගේ තියෙනවද? So we are living in a country, a group suddenly banned inorganic fertilizer and asked us to use compost to culture vegetables and all this tea, rubber and coconut. What an idiot. So what is the nitrogen level in compost? Can you answer?
2.
Sorry?
2%.
Very good. Yes, correct. Yes. 0.5, 2.5. Yes, very good. Good. Both, all the answers, very correct. Very good. Very low nitrogen level in the compost. So using compost, you can't get a good yield. Then you have to use tons of compost. Even it's not possible. So when it comes to chicken droppings, around 3% of nitrogen. Better than compost. And also phosphorus and potash, 2%. Very good fertilizer, NPK. You can have 500 birds to fertilize 1 hectare pond. You only need 500 birds. So very good. So chicken and fish together. Yes. But you have to be careful. This integrated aquaculture may not be very well accepted in Sri Lanka because we have different way of eating, and people may not eat your fish if you say if they happen to know that you are feeding them chicken droppings in Sri Lanka. But in other countries, it doesn't matter, they eat. So if we use egg layers, we can keep them around 18 months, right? So if we correctly culture fish and chicken together, you can get around 4,000 kilogram fish, 70,000 eggs, 1,250 kilogram meat. These are just some figures to you to understand the importance of chicken and fish culture. So you don't need to add supplementary feed to your fish. So that saves a lot of money. And also you don't add chemical fertilizers to water. You protect the environment, and also it saves money. So therefore, this is a very efficient way of producing food. Similarly, we can culture fish and duck together. Similarly, very similar to chicken and fish, right? Ducks. So we can dry run or wet run. Dry run can then, if this is your pond, you can keep your ducks here. Your ducks here. This is called dry run. Also, you can enclose area, make a fence, and keep your ducks here. This is called wet run. Dry run or wet run you can use, right? So you can make a fence and make a small pond in the tank so ducks can freely move here and there. So when fish are smaller, we don't release ducks into the pond. Why? When fish are smaller, we don't release ducks into the water. Why?
They eat fish.
Very good. Yes, exactly. I'm very happy that you all, at, at least some of you are very attentive and you are paying attention to the lecture and giving very good answers. So very good. So your batch is very different from previous batches. So attendance is also very good. I'm very happy to teach such students because so whatever you do it in the best way you can, whatever it is. It may be a lecture, attending a lecture, exam, or whatever in your life. So then you will improve and you can reach your objectives very easily. So very good answer. I'm really impressed. Yes, yes. They will eat fish. They will eat fish. Therefore, we don't release ducks into the pond when fish are small, right? We can have different types of ducks. Some ducks are reared only for meat, some ducks for egg laying. And so within 2 months, sometimes if you select best quality ducks, hatchlings, you can grow them up to marketable size within 2 months, right? And even within 2-3 months, they will come to marketable size. Okay, ducks, but fish need little more time. So the thing is, when it comes to ducks, you have to sell them before they lose their feathers, right? ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තටු වැටෙන කාලයක් එනවා. තටු වැටෙනකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ body growth එකත් අඩු වෙනවා. So before that you have to sell them. Okay, you have to think of these things. So for a year, so these ducks produce around 50 kilogram manure per duck. One duck. If you culture ducks 1 year, one duck will produce nearly 50 kilograms of fertilizer. They are considered as manure producing machines, ducks. They eat a lot and produce a lot of waste, lot of droppings. So we can keep more than 2,000 fish in the pond, and also if the number of ducks exceeds 3,000 per hectare, so we can add filter feeding fish, omnivorous fish, herbivorous fish together, lot of ducks and lot of fish. So if we add a suitable number of fish and duck together, so we don't want to worry. It will become a natural ecosystem. So things will recycle very efficiently. And ducks will add fertilizer, then plankton will develop, fish will eat plankton, and if there are aquatic plants, they will also grow because there is nutrients. Now you can see duck cum fish culture. So this one is a wet run. This one, dry run. Look at this. This is a city, right? In a major city. This is in Malaysia. Can you see? In a major city, in a tank, they culture fish and ducks together. Can you think of the demand for these organisms in the city? The farmer definitely gets a very good yield, very good income. So that is why this is a very good industry. And we can have duck, fish and vegetables together. Ducks, fish and vegetables together. Look at this picture. This is how you have to explain if you ask a question. So this is a wet, dry run, duck house. Night croppings. මේකට දාන්න පුළුවන්. මේකෙන් ගන්න වතුර මේගොල්ලන්ට බොන්න දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? මේගොල්ලන්ගේ මේ වතුර අපිට ඇග්‍රිකල්චර් වලට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. Sorry, it seems that some of the students do not have power. So unfortunately, we are living in a very difficult time period in our country, experiencing lots of difficulties. And I actually also had to change the time to start the lecture because of the power cut. So now I am having the power, but it seems some students do not. So always keep your mobile phones charged, and also the problem is data. And as I use Zoom Learn, for the Zoom usage, you will not be charged, right? For the Zoom usage, you will not be charged. That means the charge will be very minimum when you attend to my lectures. Because this is free for you. When you join Zoom lectures, for the Zoom, you will not be charged. So I will share the presentations with those students who could not attend, and you can contact me and ask me any question if you have. And the other thing is you can work as groups together, and clear if you have any doubts regarding subject. And look at this picture. So when you look at this picture, you can see a lot of things. Now here you can see this duck. It is disturbing the bottom. What is the advantage? When ducks disturb the bottom, they add nutrients to the water. Nutrients in the water will increase. And can you see this fish? They are following the duck because it's eating the droppings. So this nutrient-rich water you can use to water your vegetable plot. So very efficient method. Efficiency is very high, right? You can prepare your duck house on the pond or by the dike. මේකේ ඉවුරයිනේ හදාන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් පොකුණ ඇතුලේ හදන්නත් පුළුවන්. I told you ducks are fertilizer making machines. Fertilizer making machine. They're rich in carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium. So good fertilizer, right? They are living manuring machines. They are machines that produce manure, fertilizer. And also when they dabbing, can you see this word dabbing? Dabbing කියන්නේ දැන් මෙන්න මේ වගේ එක පාට යටට ගිහිල්ලා ඒගොල්ලෝ පොළොව disturb කරනවා. That is called dabbing. When they dab, they add nutrients to the water. And ducks remove all the other unwanted organisms like tadpoles, mollusks, worms, aquatic weeds, all they clean the water, right? If you culture ducks and fish together, it always better to stock little large fish, somewhat large fish, like at least 10 centimeter long, large fish. Okay? Otherwise, ducks will eat them. So we can stock, you can stock 200 to 300 ducks. They will produce 10,000, 15,000 kilograms of droppings every year. Okay, shall we watch this video? It's very interesting. And this is a short YouTube video. I'll show this. Just give me a second. So this is integrated ducks and fish together, okay?
මේ ඔබම දන්නේ කෝපියාවත්
අපි නිදාගන්න bye good night
bye good night මේ ඔබම දන්නේ කෝපියාවත්
කියලා කිව්වද?
good night oh demo group bye bye